A 1.5-year-old boy was violently assaulted at a Moscow area airport. Trigger warning everyone for this story. The attacker, also a tourist identified as 31-year-old man from Belarus, picked up the toddler and slammed him to the floor in an unprovoked attack. The assault occurred in the arrival halls moments after the boy and his pregnant mother arrived in Russia. The mother had only briefly stepped away to retrieve a pushchair and the suspect moved in to assault the boy. The suspect has since been apprehended by authorities and was reportedly to be under the influence of substances. He has admitted to police he had made similar mistakes in the past. An alleged friend of the suspect is in shock, claiming the suspect has a daughter the same age as the victim. Watch over your young ones, everyone, parents and guardians. The poor pregnant mother only briefly stepped away to retrieve a pushchair, and that was just the window of opportunity needed for someone to step in. This man had a 17cm toothbrush in his stomach for 52 years. So Yang, a 64-year-old man from Anhui, China, experienced a strange stomach sensation, and doctors discovered the toothbrush lodged in his small intestine during a digestive system check. Apparently, Yang accidentally swallowed a 17cm toothbrush when he was 12 years old, but was too scared to tell his parents. This brings up a lot of question marks. Number one, at 12 years old, how do you accidentally swallow a toothbrush that is 17cm long? You don't exactly accidentally swallow something so large unless you were FAFOing, fool around and find out, am I right? And after accidentally swallowing the toothbrush, he was too scared to tell his parents. Wouldn't his parents even notice his toothbrush is missing? So Yang, 12-year-old at that time, actually believed the toothbrush would dissolve naturally and experienced no symptoms until recently. Take note, the toothbrush has been in his stomach for 52 years. Endoscopic surgery was performed, removing the toothbrush in 80 minutes, and this is how the toothbrush looks like. It was one of the longest objects removed from a patient's digestive system at the hospital in 3 years. And people are wondering, how can a 17cm toothbrush even go through, the small intestines going like this, How does it even work? Apparently, Yang was lucky as the toothbrush actually remained stuck at the crook of the intestine, remaining stable for decades. I mean, K-pots are breaking up homes in Singapore. This mother is sharing a story to increase awareness, urging parents to monitor their children, especially for suspected substance abuse such as K-pots. This 56-year-old mother confronted her 27-year-old son about using K-pots, leading to violent reactions from him, and this wasn't the first time this happened. The son threatened to unalive himself and physically assaulted his mother, causing her to sustain injuries requiring emergency hospital care, and she now fears for her safety. She has described her son's behaviour as worse than death, and this wasn't the first time he has been suspected of such abuse. Since October 2024, the mother noticed abnormal behaviour in his son, such as shaking, staggering speech, and even found e-cigarette cartridges in his room. She also noted that he quit her job and become idle, vaping, gaming, and watching TV. So she confronted him on November 18, 2024, when he got into a violent reaction and was admitted to IMH for evaluation, the Institute of Mental Health, but was discharged the same day after a few hours. She confronted him again the next day and he got into another violent reaction, leading him to be detained by the CNB, Central Narcotics Bureau, for several hours before the mother bailed him out. Ever since, the mother has applied for a protection order and petitioned the court for a mandatory treatment to start on May 30th, 2025, this year for a year. And she has noted that, since February 2025, there is improved behaviour from her son, since there is now no longer any more tremors or unsteady movements from her son, so she has been keeping an eye out for him. However, on June 19, 2025, the son asked the mother for $10, claiming that he needed it for transport fees to sell his keyboard. And by 10 PM, he has not returned home, claiming that he was downstairs smoking with friends. When he returned, his mother noted that his eyes were dull, indicating possible substance abuse. And he left again while she was in the bathroom, saying he was going to buy coffee. The mother later found out that he actually sold the keyboard for $100, but $77 have been spent, most likely spent on vapes, likely confirming continued substance abuse. So now, the mother has to hide her wallet daily, living in fear of her life, and even claims that the son had previously borrowed from loan companies and she actually has to repay 4,000 Singapore dollars of his debts on his behalf. As we all know, vaping is illegal in Singapore, and K-pots are known to contain etomidate, being a substance that should only be administered under medical supervision, that can cause severe side effects such as nausea, vomiting, vasospasm, respiratory blood pressure irregularities, seizures, and mental confusion. Addiction is spreading among ages 13 to 34 right now, and this is becoming a more and more bigger social issue in Singapore. So parents, please keep an eye out on our children, people's children, If you notice any strange behavior, especially, unsteady movement, stuttering, staggered speech, dull eyes, contact the authorities. This man casually swiped 2 money boxes containing more than 48,000 Singapore dollars. This is your last story of the day. Follow us for more. So on April 5th, 2025, during a wedding lunch at JW Marriott Hotel Singapore, Lee 36 stole 2 money boxes containing red packets worth 48,939 Singapore dollars from the reception table. It happened at 12:50 p.m. and Lee was a former part-time banquet server at the hotel who was familiar with the layout of the ballroom and knew that money boxes were placed at the foyer during weddings. He fled after taking the boxes and hid the loot in a locker at the National Library in Bugis before going on a little shopping spree, buying some clothes at Bugis Junction and Raffles City, and then he deposited 36,331 Singapore dollars into a bank account via ATMs, converting it into online gambling credits. Over the next 2 days, he placed over 100 bets via an unlicensed gambling website and spent over 12,000 Singapore dollars at a Singapore Pools outlet. The wedding organizer noticed the missing boxes, reviewed CCTV footage showing Lee's action and alerted police at 1 p.m. Lee was arrested on April 7 with only 3,000 Singapore dollars of the stolen cash remaining still in his possession, so he has nearly gamed all of it away. On June 24, 2025, Lee was sentenced to 12 months jail after pleading guilty to 1 count each of theft and gambling with an unlicensed provider. The judge has also ordered Lee to compensate the victims with an additional 100 days jail if he fails to do so. So now you know, all money boxes at all weddings should be attended with eyes on them 24/7 during the whole wedding procedures, okay? Please do not leave them unattended anymore, anywhere, in any banquet, in any part of Singapore.